Okay, so chapter 2. I want that button. The reason why I don't ever make a thing for chapter 2 is we do chapter 2 in 2 days. The whole purpose of chapter 2 is to introduce like 3 vocabulary words and to give us a framework in our head about how we should read statistical problems. So remember yesterday I said everything we do is a story problem, and it is. Everything we do in here is a story problem. And that shouldn't scare you because it's not the same type of story problems, right? Story problems in advanced algebra and pre-calculus, they expect you to have some formula that you've kind of already memorized, and then you're supposed to read the problem to figure out which numbers go where, right? That's how story problems work in other math classes. It is not the same in AP statistics, okay? In AP statistics, what we need to understand is what the prompt is trying to tell us, okay? And so there are certain things we want to look at to help us understand what we should be looking for, okay? And we call it the who, what, where, when, and why. Basically, we want to be able to read a problem. We want to know who it's about, what are we measuring, where was it taken, when was it taken, and why was it taken. Because a statistical prompt is going to give you a study that was done at some point. And we need to know these things about the study so that we know how to approach the problems. Okay. So we're going to talk about these who's and what's and whatever that stuff is. But let's first talk about what data is. What is data? That's data. That is data. Data can be numbers. Data can be words. Data can be number sentences. It can be an equation, right? Data is a number of things. This is all data, okay? There's Mr. Dilly, there's golf, there's Oak Harbor, right? 3. Should probably update this. I haven't updated it in years. Still have Desperado on here. I think I have to keep that just to keep myself like always don't forget, right? But data doesn't make sense until it's organized, right? If we don't organize our data, then it's just a bunch of numbers or it's just a bunch of words. And so we've organized the data down here, right? So there we've got categories, and the numbers make sense because they have a label, right? So teacher, Mr. Dilly, my favorite sport, rolling dice, right? I don't play sports. I'm a gamer, very much a gamer. I used to. I had a kid last October, and when I had my kid, I gave up my weekly Wednesday D&D group. I haven't played in like a year, but a little bit switching, right? I missed that. But I don't do sports, right? I don't play sports ball. I just play lots of different games. Justin, what do you want? You could if you want to. Like I said, chapter 2, I'm not super we're building some vocabulary and how to read things. So it's not a huge chapter. But then I come from Kent, right? I drive a scooter every day. It's clear that I didn't update this because this is actually my 8th year teaching. And if on a factor from 1 to 5, how great am I? I'm a 5. Okay. Mr. Pierce, he plays golf. He's from Oak Harbor. He drives a truck. He's been teaching for I think 14 years now, and he's a 1. Right? So I wish I could say it higher for him, but these are just the rules. Cornelius, he plays basketball. Do you know he played basketball in high school? Yeah. That's why. He comes from Mount Vernon. He played for Mount Vernon. His dad still owns a shop in Mount Vernon. If you've ever gone to downtown Mount Vernon, his dad owns one of the bookstores down there. I don't know what it's called. He's been teaching for 11 years. He's a 4. And then you got Jensen basketball. He played basketball too, which is a surprise. He's like, but he lives in Bellingham, drives a sedan. He's been teaching for 110 years, and he's a 4, right? Maybe it's and actually I think that's 112 years. So data needs to be organized to make sense, right? If we just have numbers everywhere, it doesn't do anything for us. Right? So one of the things we're going to talk about in this first section is how do we organize data to make it make sense. And one of the things we're going to do is talk about tables like this, and then different graphs, histograms, and all of that stuff we talked about earlier. Okay. The who, what, where, when, and why. What is the who? The who of the data corresponds to the individual cases of whom or which are being studied. In the case of that last table that we were looking at, the who was the teachers, right? Mr. Jensen, Mr. Cornelius, myself, right? We were the who. That's who was being studied. The who doesn't have to be a name. The who can be a number, right? You're going to read in your chapter tonight that Amazon.com, when they have their list of clients, right? Because all of your information about, if you've ever shopped on Amazon.com before, you are part of a database, right? But they don't do it by name. You're a number. At Amazon, you are simply a number. And your entire buying habits, not even just your clicking habits, when you are on Amazon, everything you click on gets stored in a database about you. This is a show of hands. How many of you guys have bought something or shopped on Amazon before? Do you ever find it eerily creepy that when you go to Amazon.com, that there's a list of things that you're like, wow, those are kind of cool and I kind of want to buy them, right? That's all market research. Have you ever been on Facebook and had that little ad on the side that's from Amazon and it's something that you maybe just bought or was on the you should buy this list from Amazon and now it's showing up on your Facebook? That's market research, because if you're on Amazon, you're a number and everything you've ever clicked on has been saved in a database. And they are trying to get you to buy things, right? And they're very good at it. Amazon is really good at it.
Yeah, I was on Amazon the other day, and I was like, this is exactly. I was like, the next day, it's very
yeah, exactly, right? Amazon is very good at what they do. Their databases of data are so thorough that not only do they know what you've already done, but they will predict your future buying habits with it. Right? This is what the statisticians at Amazon do, right? They work on ways to create databases that sell you things. They're really good at it, okay? If you're looking at a table, usually it's the rows, right? If you're going this direction, okay? Columns, remember columns, rows. Okay? There we go. We have different names for them. They can be respondents, subjects, participants, records, observations, or if you want to be very general, experimental units. Okay? In the case of Amazon, it's probably subjects. You're a subject because they're looking at your input. Okay? So that's the who, right? This is going to be an important theme as we run through it. These two vocabulary words, which you're going to see come up a lot, and that is sample and population. One is a smaller version of the other, right? So a population is like an entire group, whereas whereas a sample is a subset of a group. I love this boy. A population is an entire group. A sample is a subset of a group. So, for example, a population could be Cedro Woolley High School, but you guys are a sample of Cedro Woolley High School. Okay. A population, or in your homework tonight, it's going to say population of interest. Okay. That's the whole population that we're talking about. The sample is a small section of that big. So if I were to go out in the hallway and sample the students that walk by, I'm taking a sample of the population. Okay? And like I said, in your homework tonight, they say population of interest, but it's the same idea. Okay. Got 3 minutes, and then I can talk about homework. Let's talk about the, whoops, I'm on the pen still. I just underlined that thing, and I did not mean to do that. Let's go back to the arrow. There we go. Let's talk about what, the where, the when, and the why is pretty straightforward. Okay? The data is the variables. It's the thing being measured. What do we want to know about a person? Okay. Some variables have units. Some do not. There are two types of variables: categorical and quantitative. Categorical variables separate things into categories, and quantitative variables measure some kind of quantity. One of the things you're going to be doing as your homework tonight is reading through some studies and deciding, is this a categorical variable or a quantitative variable? Okay. What we did yesterday with the M&Ms is a categorical variable because there's buckets of things, right? Red, blue, green. I can move them around and it makes no difference. It's the same thing. That's categorical. Quantitative would be if I have like a measured number and the order of which the bars would be showing up matters, like GPA. GPA probably quantitative variable because if you're a 2.0 and you're over here, the order that you're a 4.0 is different if you're a 2.2, and it's continuous. Okay. Now the interesting thing is we can talk about grades as categorical variables as well. If we wanted to say instead of a GPA number and we classified it by A, that's a categorical variable because we've got buckets again, things to put it. So the way that we describe something often determines whether or not it's categorical or quantitative. Again, I'm going to let you read about it tonight. First thing we're going to do tomorrow also is determine if some things are categorical or quantitative. We'll also talk about the where, the when, and the why. But let's talk about your homework tonight. We can call this done. Show, discard the annotations, and turn off the video.